everyone. This is Tim Noyes. I'm the workforce manager for the Department of Children and Families, and I wanted to actually take a few minutes to show you my passion, kind of bring you, since you're stuck virtually at your own place, to bring you to my place and let you kind of see what I've created and what I've loved. If you know me at all, you know that I love tomatoes. You know I'll make analogies about them. I just am enamored with growing either tomatoes, whether it's rare vegetables or fruit trees. I just have always loved it. And it really, though, it came to me about 10 years ago when I was in a time of uncertainty. Um, Things were out of my control. As much as I wanted something to work my way, I had absolutely, positively no control, and I worried about everything. Things I couldn't do anything about. I find that this is very similar to the current situation we're in right now, where we're worried about what's happening outside of here, how long it's going to take. We have a lot of fears and a lot of worries that may or may not come true. So I don't want to minimize things by saying, hey, what about gardening, or learn something new? But this is an opportunity. So this came from me not knowing anything about horticulture, not knowing anything about growing anything. This came just from me picking up YouTube videos, reading books, experimenting, completely failing, losing a lot of stuff, to now to where I'm growing seeds out for other people, stuff for saving seeds that are very rare, that don't grow anywhere else. Also, I'm breeding my own plants, creating things that that never existed before. These are all things you can do. And now here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity for you to look to see what else is out there that you might be interested in, and just trying it. Because I came from nothing, and I'll show you where I got to now. But if you want, let's go ahead and check out the garden.
Woohoo!
So as we're, my wife Laura is doing the video, so I'm going to try not to look back too much because there's a bright sun right behind her. But so you can see as you're walking through here, a little, not a little papaya tree, but a papaya tree there, and it was all male flowers, but now actually I see an actual papaya fruit on there. And I've kind of gone ahead throughout my whole entire garden. Watch out for all that equipment there. Throughout my whole entire garden, I try to put fruit trees. So these are loquats, Japanese plums. They produce fruit, but it's a seedling tree. So next year it should probably have some fruit on it. But if you look around here, these are some of my smaller tomatoes. I started them back in, well, what is it, end of January, so beginning of February. So they're smaller plants. They're not really as short as they appear. They're actually the stem actually goes down here to the bottom of that bucket. But that's where we're at right now. I just bury them deep. But if you check it out, this is my breeding program here. And what's really neat about it is some of them I bred myself, some of them I'm searching for other people. All of this is simple stuff. This is my back patio. It's just a cement pad. And everything's in buckets. It makes it easier for me. I've learned myself that I can control a lot more within a bucket than I can within my own soil. Everything's on strings. It makes it a lot easier when I'm actually going ahead and staking my tomatoes. It makes it a lot easier to support them, and especially when you have tomatoes coming on. So if you actually want to check it out here, I've got some tomatoes already started. These are about full size as they're going to get on this plant. I have larger tomatoes.
Oh, how cute.
But and you can see this is the little horn on this one. It's just a little mutation that happens. And I mean, all of them are about a little bit different in size, but I run them along strings like this, and at first it didn't really shed a lot of tomatoes, but if you start looking at each one of these flowers, you'll start seeing now they're starting to set little tomatoes. So even up on here, we've got some little tomatoes. And if I went down every single set of strings, you'd be able to see more tomatoes on these plants. Some people ask me what the heck I do with them. That's a good question. I usually give a lot of them away. I don't make tomato sauces. I don't make a lot of that stuff because it's a lot of work to take care of 100 and some plus tomato plants. if you actually want to see some cool stuff over here, we'll take a little quick ride over on this side. And you can see this really interesting difference in the leaves. This one almost looks like a velvety. And then this one came from the same seed, has leaves that are more like a regular tomato. And there's kind of a mix in between these. There's like one that's like sort of hairy. It's like this one here. So actually here's another example. This is kind of sort of hairy, but in comparison, there's no comparison. So it's an interesting one. The thought is that it keeps the bugs away. And then let's see. I know there's a nice cool. Let's see, a little tomato over here with some little purple up on the top of it, some purple striping. Another interesting thing too that you learn. There's a lot of science to it. You wonder why certain things happen. If you look at this fruit tree right here, the normal fruit tree is just all green leaves. But then you have this one branch that is what they call variegated. It's got white and the green on the leaves. And you wonder where that kind of came from. Is that a disease? Is that anything else? And what that actually is it's called a somatic mutation, where one particular branch changes. What's neat about that, though, is that if it continues to grow and it continues to be variegated, I could go ahead and make a cutting off of that next year and actually create a tree that's all variegated. So it's an interesting find on a tree that I wasn't searching for. But some of these things just kind of run into you. So let's check a few more things out before we get going. All right, if you follow me, here's another loquat tree. It had its first fruit on it this year. I already ate them though, but they were good. Here's a mulberry tree, and you can see some of the mulberries that are on there. If I can't get to them, the birds will. Some more tomato plants. I do a lot of growing in pots, even for fruit trees, especially when I'm trying to make sure that they get started and they get the best life. And if you come over here, you can see my tropical fruit trees that I have here. Stuff like guava. This is like a Malaysian cherry of some sort, a key apple, a mango tree right over here. Now those things don't grow here in Florida. Well, they do, but not here at this part of north central Florida. But I go ahead and I grow them in containers. That way I can bring them inside and protect them. And if I can keep them small enough, then I can actually get some fruit off of them. And that would be really neat. So all sorts of interesting things, bananas, sherbet berry. I've got a blueberry hedge right over here. So all that is, those are all blueberry plants that I started from a neighbor's cuttings that he gave me. And then I've got some other things over here. I'm trying. Oh, there's little Clover. Hey, Clover, how are you? There he is. Some persimmon trees right here. And you can even see the little persimmons. And here's the flowers right here of the persimmons. So that whole entire tree was a tiny tree last year. And then, but anyways, I wanted to give you an idea of what you can do. That's only my backyard, and that's not even all of it. We've had some fruit trees that I'm not even going to mention. Just take the time now and really take advantage of your time at home with your family and the ability to actually learn something new, because you can do something amazing within just a few years and just not even know that this terrible thing that we're kind of going through can be a big opportunity for you and what you can do in your future. Thank you.